Hi, so today I picked out some Reddit stories to read here today, so let's jump on in. My first night working in a morgue still haunts me, and I wish I could say I imagined it. This happened a few years ago when I got a night job as an assistant at a small hospital morgue. My shift started at midnight and ended at 6 in the morning. Most of the work was simple: logging bodies, keeping the place clean, and making sure everything stayed organized. The morgue was in the hospital basement, cold and quiet, with a row of metal drawers along the wall. Before leaving that night, the senior technician told me something that stuck in my mind. "Old building," he said. "You'll hear strange noises sometimes. Just ignore them." At first, the night was completely normal. I sat at the desk doing paperwork and occasionally checking my phone. Around 1:40 a.m., paramedics brought in a body from a car accident. A young man. I helped place him in a drawer numbered 6 and logged the time. After that, everything went quiet again. About 30 minutes later, I heard a faint metallic sound behind me. It was like something lightly hitting steel. I turned around and looked at the wall of drawers, but nothing seemed out of place. Then I heard it again. This time it sounded like scratching. I slowly walked closer to the drawer, trying to convince myself it was just the cooling system or old pipes, but the sound kept coming back, faint but clear, and it was coming from the drawer number 6, the same drawer where I had placed the body. My heart started beating faster. I stood there staring at it, telling myself it was impossible. The paramedics had already confirmed he was dead. Then the handle moved slightly. Just a small twitch, but enough for me to notice. I hesitated for a moment before slowly pulling the drawer open. The body was still there, laying on the tray exactly where I had left it. I felt stupid for getting scared and started to close the drawer again. That's when I noticed something. His eyes were open. I froze. I knew they had been closed earlier. I clearly remembered that, but now they were wide open, staring straight up at the ceiling. Before I could react, one of his fingers slowly twitched. I slammed the drawer shut and backed away so fast I nearly tripped over my chair. My hands were shaking as I called the medical examiner. When he arrived and opened the drawer again, everything looked normal. The body was lying still, with both eyes closed. No one believed what I told them, but I know what I saw, and I never worked another night shift in that morgue again. I don't usually share things like this, but this happened last winter and I still think about it more than I should. I was driving alone through a remote area late at night after messing up my travel timing. My phone had no signal and there wasn't a single proper town nearby. I was exhausted to the point where I was starting to feel unsafe driving, so I just needed anywhere to rest for a few hours. That's when I noticed an old hotel on the side of the road. The sign was broken and barely readable, and the whole place looked like it had been shut down for years. I was about to ignore it, but then I saw a faint light coming from one of the upstairs windows. It wasn't bright, just enough to stand out in the darkness. I convinced myself there must be someone inside, maybe a caretaker, so I turned back and parked. The place was completely silent when I stepped out of the car. No other vehicles, no sound, nothing. The main door wasn't locked, which immediately felt wrong. When I pushed it open, it made this long creaking sound that echoed through the entire building. Inside, the air smelled damp and stale, like it hadn't been aired out in years. The reception desk was covered in dust, thick enough you could see it. Hadn't been touched in a long time, except for one spot where it looked like someone had recently placed their hand. That detail stuck with me more than anything. I called out, "Hello?" but no one answered. A few seconds later, I heard something upstairs. It wasn't loud, just a small movement, but it sounded too deliberate to be the building settling. I stood there longer than I should have, trying to convince myself it was nothing, but eventually curiosity got the better of me. I took out my phone, turned on the flashlight, and walked towards the stairs. Every step creaked loudly, and I remember thinking that if someone was up there, they definitely knew I was coming. When I reached the second floor, the hallway was completely dark except for that one room with the faint light. The door was slightly open, and I could hear something inside. It wasn't clear talking, more like a low, constant whisper or breathing. I froze in place, just listening, trying to figure out what it was. Then very slowly, the door moved a little more open, like it was being pushed from the inside. I couldn't see anyone, but I had a strong feeling that something was right behind it. Then everything went completely silent. No whispering, no movement, nothing at all. That silence felt worse than the noise. I started backing away slowly, trying not to make any sound, but the floor creaked under me anyways. Right after that, I heard it again, this time closer to the door, like something had stepped forward. That was enough for me. I turned and rushed down the stairs, not even trying to be quiet anymore. I didn't look back once. I got outside, jumped into my car, and locked the doors immediately. When I finally looked up at that building, the light in that room was gone. The entire hotel was completely dark, like it had never been on at all. I didn't stay to figure it out. I just drove until I reached the next town. I've tried to explain it logically since then. Maybe someone was living there. Maybe I imagined parts of it, but I can't explain the door moving or how the light disappeared that fast. A few months later, I passed that road again during the day, and the hotel was completely boarded up. Every window sealed. No way in or out, and definitely no electricity running to it. I didn't stop to check. I just kept on driving. I have always been drawn to abandoned places, but one exploration will stay with me forever. About a month ago, I heard about an old hospital on the outskirts of my town. It had been closed for over 20 years, and locals said it was haunted. Most people avoided it, but I wanted to see it for myself. I arrived in the late afternoon. The hospital looked exactly how you would imagine. The smell hit me immediately. Musty, with something metallic in the air, like old blood. My flashlight barely cut through the darkness, but I could make out hospital beds, wheelchairs, and old medical equipment scattered across the floor. Some rooms still had patient files on desks. Seeing them made it feel real, like someone had just left. I was exploring the second floor when I heard footsteps. At first, I thought it was the wind, but then they came again, slow, deliberate steps above me. I froze. My heart pounded in my chest. The steps stopped and then moved towards the stairwell. I could see no one. I called out, but no one answered. Curiosity got the better of me, and I slowly climbed the stairs. That is when I saw it, a figure standing at the end of the hallway. I could not make out details, just a silhouette, but it was human-shaped. It did not move or breathe, it just stood there. I wanted to run, but something made me step closer. Then it disappeared, just like that. No footsteps, no sound. My flashlight flickered and the hallway went pitch dark for a few seconds. Somehow I managed to keep moving. I ran downstairs and towards the entrance. When I reached the main lobby, I froze. On the wall were handprints, fresh handprints. I had not touched the wall, and there was no way anyone else could have been in the building. My stomach dropped. I bolted outside. Once I reached my car, I dared to look back. The hospital looked empty, but I could have sworn I saw a shadow in one of the broken windows. I drove home without stopping. My bare hands were trembling on the wheel. That night, I could not sleep. Around 3 a.m, I woke up to my phone vibrating. A photo had been sent to me from an unknown number. It was taken inside the hospital. I recognized the hallway, and in the photo, a figure was standing in the background, blurred but unmistakable. I deleted the photo and changed my number. I have not returned to the hospital since. I tell myself it was someone playing a prank or my imagination running wild. But I know the truth. Something is still inside that hospital and it watches anyone who dares to enter. I would never go back, and I do not plan on ever forgetting that night. Even now, driving past the hospital during the day, I feel my chest tighten. I catch a glimpse of movement in the windows. I tell myself it's a trick of the light, but deep down I know it's not. And I know one thing for certain. Whatever is in there does not want to be found, but it will always find a way to be seen. Alright, so that'll be the end of today's video. I just wanted to read some stories that I found on Reddit, and I'm hopefully working on a video to post sometime soon after this one, so hopefully I can get that done. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll catch you in the next one.